I think I want to start with the Wolves getting beaten badly by the Warriors, and the Warriors didn't have Steph Curry much of the game when he played 13 minutes and won't have him for game two. And yet, I think as much as we'd like it to be about the Warriors and how great they were defensively, we also need to point out that maybe some of it was that Anthony Edwards and the Wolves weren't ready to play. Don't believe me? Here's Chris Finch, the head coach of the Wolves, talking about his young star.
Starts with Anthony. I thought he struggled early, and then you could just kind of see the light go out a little bit for a while. And then, obviously we had to try to get him going in the second half. But I think, it was one of those games where he kind of came out with a predetermined mindset of what he was trying to do, and just rather than just playing the game that was in front of him. What is there to talk about? I mean, you're the leader of the team, and you got to come out and set the tone. In all ways that happens. And if your shot's not going, like you still have to carry the energy, So I don't think if I got to talk to guys about having the right energy coming into opening second round game, then we're not on the same page. So
this is Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. I think here's where you go from star to superstar. And here's what differentiates guys. And I think some of it for Anthony Edwards was like, look, I love the celebration after you beat the Lakers. I love walking the streets of L.A. and talking trash. I think that is awesome. Truly. Really awesome. But it's just a first-round series, dude. You didn't win the NBA championship. And you have to act like, which you have, been there before. So there's a little bit of the, hey, there's a lot more basketball to be played. The second part to it is, can you play well when you're not playing well? And there's a difference. And the reason that I was never a big Melo guy, not because Carmelo Anthony, there's probably a 5-year stretch there when he was the best scorer in the league. 3-level scorer, obviously better in the mid-range, which just kind of died off, but he could really score. But could Carmelo Anthony do anything to help your team when he wasn't scoring? The answer was no. And Anthony Edwards at some point could be described as such, right? If you're not making shots, what else can you do? Whereas we saw Steph Curry, and I don't think Steph Curry affects the game defensively like he should, like the best do. But Game 7 against the Rockets, Steph Curry wasn't scoring, and yet he still had great effect on the game. Great effect on the game. Here's Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield. They had this exchange after the game.
Draymond declared that tonight Jimmy became Batman and Buddy went from Alfred to Robin. Do you guys have any comments on that declaration?
No.
I'll start out.
No.
No.
I'm Batman today. I saved the day. He's still Robin.
All right. Well, I'm still Robin, yes. And Steph's still Batman. And Buttered is still who he is.
Call me Buttered.
Okay. But you had another good game, man. Except for that stupid thing you did at the beginning of the game when you didn't have on the right shorts. It's not real Robin and or Batman like.
Buddy, what happened with the wardrobe malfunction?
Jimmy switched it out. It was Jimmy's fault.
Okay.
Jimmy switched it out, and that's what happened. So I was looking for my shorts, and I thought it was the right one. He said, "Yo, put these on." It was the right, and that was the.
That's what you're going with.
Yeah, I'm going with Jimmy. It was Jimmy's fault. His locker's next to my locker. I was looking for my shorts. He said, "Yo, why can't I find my shorts?" Oh, I see there. And I put them on, and it looked just alike. And after that, got a fine for it. So it's cool. It was Jimmy's fault. Blame Jimmy.
Pretty funny back and forth. Well, you're listening to the only guy in America that has had a similar type of wardrobe malfunction. He had the practice shorts on, not the game shorts on, right? So he had to run back into the locker room. And Jay Stu, I know this is a big thing. It's been a big thing for all of us. This is what happens when you're wearing your non-traditional uniforms, right? They're wearing their black road uniforms, and those were black shorts. It wasn't terribly noticeable unless you were actually looking really, really close. But if you had one set, a normal set of uniform that looked very distinctly different than your practice uniforms, this would never happen. Correct?
That was my point. And you telling me that was a practice shorts, that's news to me. I thought this was like the shorts of another alternate uniform that he had in his locker room. So it makes a little bit more sense now. I want to go back to your situation. You had put your shorts on backwards, and then you put your sweats on, and it was in the middle of a game or before the game. How did that come to be again?
We're playing at Kansas. This is in March of 1999, so 26 years ago. It was senior night for the Jayhawks. We were that year we had gotten into the habit, it started the year before, of flying in the day of the game. All our guys liked it. So we flew in day of the game. Well, because of weather, we had to land in Kansas City. Because we landed in Kansas City, we didn't have a shoot-around time. So we got in early to Lawrence for the game. By early, I mean, I think we landed, I would say, noon or 1 o'clock. And then we bust over from Kansas City to Lawrence, which is like, we landed downtown because we were on private, not at MCI, which is way up north in the boondocks. And, let's say we got to, I think we got to Lawrence at like 1, went to a hotel and had a pregame meal, and then took a nap, and then the game, big Monday games back then were like 8 o'clock starts. So instead of getting there at, 7:30, maybe we were there at 7. Instead of getting there at 6:30, we were there at 6, or maybe instead of getting there at 7, we were there at 6:30. We got like a half-hour extra time to shoot because we didn't have shoot-around that day because of the travel and whatnot. So when we would get to the gym, a teammate of mine, his name's Adrian Peterson, he's the third all-time leading scorer in Oklahoma State history. He and I would often kind of race. Like neither of us taped to go warm up or whatever. And so we'd get there, throw on our shorts, not put on our jerseys, just put on, back then I wore a ribbed white tee underneath my jersey. I think we all know what the ribbed white tee is. Somehow the sarcastic nickname of that is somehow offensive. I'm not really sure how, but regardless. So threw on the ribbed white tee, then threw on the shooting shirt over it. Threw on my shorts, and I had there were these gray undershorts that people used to wear. Everybody called them grays. I put my grays on over my underwear, and then over that was my shorts, and then over the shorts was my the tearaway pants. And so then when you come back for game time, you'd come back in, and after the first time you'd warm up, you'd throw on your actual jersey. Put the jersey on over the ribbed white tee, then put the shooting shirt back on. So now you have shooting shirt and tearaway sweats on the bottom. And so, I never really looked at my shorts. I had tearaway sweats on over the shorts ever since I put those shorts on. It's not an excuse, that's the explanation. And then, you get called, you starting lineup, you're in the game. I actually, believe it or not, had come out of the game and come back into the game, and no one on our bench had noticed it or said anything. And we're at the free throw line, and they started yelling, shorts on backwards, shorts. And it sounded like shirts on backwards. So I looked at my shirt and I'm I'm good. And then I kind of looked over my right shoulder and saw that the OSU was on my right hamstring and realized what I had done. We called timeout, switched the shorts around, good to go. That's it. There you go. But Wolves, not ready to play. Anthony Edwards, tremendous, great talent, but to be a great player, you got to be able to play well when you're not playing well. He could not. And how about the Warriors able to do it mostly without Steph? Plus, we had the Pacers winning after being down 7 with under a minute left. And for the second consecutive night, a team up 3 with under 10 seconds to go, fouls intentionally, and loses the game. At home.